Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're coming to you live from Mainnet 2023 in New York City. And joining me for this segment, we have Lule Demmissie. She is the U.S. CEO of eToro to discuss the state of crypto adoption with retail investors. It is great to see you as always, Lule. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Fantastic to be here.
Let's talk about retail investor activity. They tend to be more impacted by the news cycle versus what's happening in the institutional marketplace.
Yeah, I think what happens in the institutional trends, whether it's institutions are tokenizing or not tokenizing, it's a little too esoteric. So it's really more about macro trends. So you'll see it, for example, when the bank crisis was happening, you saw tremendous activity in retail investment when it comes to crypto, right? So I think it's much more about like macroeconomic and regulatory, large-scale regulatory trends that influence them more than the ins and outs of institutional behavior.
Let's talk about the regulatory environment. That has been the key topic throughout Mainnet, and it really is the center of innovation because of the uncertainty of it all. We don't have that regulatory framework here yet. Do you think if we get clarity around that, that's the catalyst for the next phase of adoption?
I do, because I think, like any innovation in history tells you, when you have regulatory stability, you have a thriving of innovation that comes with it, right? So even when you see retail investor behavior in the last 2 years, the instruments that have had regulatory certainty have been winning, right? So if you look at options, for example, right, you see more options contracts now than you did even at peak days, than you did even before the pre-COVID time, right, or post-COVID time. And so I think that regulatory stability and certainty creates the bedrock for innovation and participation.
I thought it was interesting, in your second quarter RIB survey, people are starting their investing journey through crypto.
Yeah, it's not a journey that's about only crypto, but crypto has had one advantage in terms of the fact that it has been at the intersection of culture and investing, right, which is why you see more diverse ownership of crypto than you do other asset classes, right? So it makes sense that it's one of the ways that when you think of how people start investing, it's usually around a cultural element of things as well, right? Who introduced them to it, the table talks around friends and family. And so crypto makes sense that it's one of those places that they're starting in because it's embedded in the culture.
So you're continuing to see more crypto use, more accounts come on at eToro as a result of this?
We are seeing, so eToro is a multi-asset platform, right? So we actually see a mix. We see about 50% of it is in stocks and options and ETFs and other things, but a good chunk of it also is still crypto.
All right, Lule, I appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.